everybody, I am the Reading Tortie and welcome back to my channel. I live! Only took like 2 months for me to get back into it and I'm still kind of out of it. So I would have updated much sooner because I was actually reading until my body decided to self-destruct late October, I believe. I had a horrible stomach flu, it took me like 3 weeks to get over, and then I decided to take a break until Thanksgiving to recover fully, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be super productive during Thanksgiving week, and then body's like, nope, Thanksgiving Day, wake up, have like 103-degree fever, hallucinating, no idea where the heck I am, and went downhill again for about 3 weeks. And I still have a cough, my body aches, I'm probably made out of sawdust, so if I ever just go silent, I just like flopped over dead somewhere, because that just seems like that's what my body likes to do. But I'm back, and let's try to get through this video without hacking up one of my lungs. So November 24th, Call Me By Your Name was officially released in select theaters nationwide. I realized that it didn't come out in Austin, Texas on November 24th, and that Sunday right before, I cried and wallowed and wailed, and then I died. So I wasn't going to be able to go see it anyways. Friday that day, I could barely get out. I could barely pick up my head off my pillow. So it wouldn't have worked out anyways. It will come to Austin, though, on December 21st. And of course, I'm going to be out of state. So thankfully, I found a city near where I'm going that is showing the movie. So I'm going to go watch it on December 21st. And then I'm going to come back to Austin and watch it again, because you can never watch that movie too many times. So in light of the holidays, my recovery and not dying, and the movie that I'm going to go see hopefully like next week, I'm going to do a video of Call Me By Your Name. This book has been kind of under the radar since June, the last time I uploaded a video, and since it was my very first book review, I go back and I'm like, okay, so I was still not really comfortable, I didn't know what to do, and I've had a lot of really positive, constructive, amazing discussions surrounding this book. So you all are an amazing community. You guys are great. I'm so proud to know that you guys are all removed so much by the book to comment on my stuff, and we had great discussions, and we shared our heartbreak and our heartache, and we cried together, and it was like an emotional support group, because this just wrecked me. So thank you so much for being there and helping me through this emotional catastrophe that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna suffer again once I watch the movie, and I'm in a seizure and probably comatose that day. If I die, I die in peace, so it's all good. Much better die after seeing Call Me By Your Name than like stomach fluing myself to death. That's awful. So this is like Call Me By Your Name review 2.0 and topic of discussion just put together. So the first part is going to be a review that I hope is a little more well put together than my first one. And the second part of the video is going to be questions that I keep getting, see my throat, in the discussions. And I guess stuff that I've gotten back, because there's one viewer in particular, they knew who they are. They've read the book about 6 times. 1 physical, 2 physical, I believe, and then like 4 times an audiobook, and they were part of a reading group of about 50 people, and they were last ones standing, and so they just took copious notes, and they looked up every single book and work of art that was here, and so they know this book inside and out, and probably better than they know the back of their own hand. And they told me this, and I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm such a peasant fan. Like, I feel shamed, I feel disgraced. Like, I'm sorry that I thought that I was good enough to make a video about this, but not all of us can be as brilliant as this individual. So kudos to you, so much respect, and onto my peasant review compared to that person. So the characters, there's also a bigger notebook because I forgot my little notebook and I started drafting in here, and I'm like, let's just stick with this one. So the characters that we all know and love are Elio, Oliver, and their father. I'm sorry to say I don't quite know his name. And Marcia in the house and everybody else, who are important, but I'm going to focus on Elio, Oliver, and his father. So Ellie and Oliver, as we all know, are, emotional wreckers, and they like to just derp around for the majority of the book without much consideration for what they're doing to us. That's why we love them. And they're beautiful, flawed, dynamic characters that still leap off the page to me. I just flipped through the book right before this recording, and I was immediately drawn back in. These characters don't skip a beat. You skip through the book, but they don't. And you feel like you're right in stride with them, and like you haven't missed anything, like you just finished talking to them 2 pages prior. So Oliver and Elio are some of the most authentic, realistic, and relatable characters that I have read in a very, very long time. I find that Elio is very genuine and authentic because of the way that he handles his relationship and lack of relationship with Oliver, and how Oliver also realizes that he can't expect a lifelong commitment of a 17-year-old. Granted, personally speaking, if they had pursued their relationship, I think that they would have had a very lovely and beautiful life. But Oliver and Elio were very sound, grounded individuals, even though they were so wishy-washy in how they reacted to each other. So Oliver and Elio will frustrate you, eat your heart out, not care, and you're going to love every second of it. And then comes the father. I briefly mentioned him clumsily in my first review, but the father, I think, is such a subtle, crucial, and pivotal, beautiful character. Every character in this book is so lively, and they have like their own little sprite that follows them around, like the gardener and the cook, and everybody is just so spritey, and they have their own spark. And no matter how mundane their actions, it shines through all of the pages, and it doesn't outshine Oliver and Elio. They're their own like planet of stars, of galaxies, but everybody else has their own special light that is not, it's just very special, and the writer makes you feel like they're special too. No matter how small their part is, they are a special character, and they have been specifically chosen to come into this book. So the father, even though he's not the most prominent character, he's a bit of like a background catalyst to everything. It's because of the father that Oliver ends up coming to Italy, and Elio also influences that as well, we find out later. But the father is, in my opinion, the embodiment of wisdom, enlightenment, and just acceptance. And he is the comfort and the happiness that I think we all hope we could achieve, just his peace with himself and his life and his son, who at the time, most parents would have been like, oh, so this is questionable, we got to go get my son reformed or something. And he's just like, go with the flow, son, like we're solid, grow, experience things. And he's such a wise, peaceful, educated man, but I would expect nothing less from him, because he's just a peaceful aura. And I think that he plays such a pivotal, crucial, and important role post Oliver for Elio. I think that the conversation that Elio and his father have really help Elio come to terms with what has happened in his life, because Oliver has, wrecked him like they have wrecked all of us. I think that if he hadn't had that conversation with his father, there would have been so many questions, lack of acceptance of what Oliver was to him without that. And I think that the father is such a beautiful and subtle character that just peeks through the entire book. They're having their drama, and the father kind of just appears on scene, and he's like, oh, by the way, Oliver, let's go do this. And then they go, and Elio gets to go and go worry about what's going on. But the father is just weaving in and out of their drama, of their beautiful love story of their life, and he's aware of it, and he's just there making sure that the way it's supposed to play out is played out. And he's not interfering. He's just moving in accordance to how they need him to. And he knows the role he has to play, and he plays it so well. And he is just so brilliant, one of the brightest stars, one of the brightest characters in this book, without distorting, overwhelming, or taking from anything that Oliver and Elio are. If anything, he adds to them. So, the father. I went on a rant about the father because I feel like I didn't give him enough time or coherent thought in the first review. Sorry about that. So, the setting is Italy, Rome, and Elio's mind. Everything we see in this book first has to go through the lens of Elio. So everything is colored by Elio's perspective. And that's also why, as we've had discussions, Elio is not exactly the most reliable narrator, simply because his personal feelings taint everything that you see, but still beautiful, still amazing. You see past the inconsistencies, even though stuff's out of order. You question, did this really happen, or is this all in your head or in my head, or where's Oliver? And then Oliver's like somewhere else that's nowhere near here, and we're like, wait a second, that was all in his head. But that's okay. So the setting is very fluid, almost stream of consciousness, out of order, so it might annoy you, but it's raw, true, and authentic. And even though it's tainted, not tainted, it's painted with Elio's biases and his personal feelings, it's still lovely and raw, because everything in this book, even though it may not be exactly what is actually happening, is real to Elio. And this is what Elio is experiencing, feeling, remembering, loving, hating, excited about, sad about, pained about. And everything in this book is authentic to Elio. And so we see Elio and his world through his lens. And I think that that is one of the beauties of having a first-person narrative like this one. Because a lot of first-person narratives seem a little lackluster. In my opinion, first-person narratives are a little difficult for me to get behind. But this one is done so well. I feel that this is the truth in Elio's world. And that's okay, because Oliver loves Elio's world. So I have to love Elio's world in return. And it's out of order, and it might bother you guys, as I mentioned in my topic of discussion. But the setting is beautiful and present and alive with Oliver and Elio, because Oliver is pretty much, a giant part of his life, mental, physical, spiritual, emotional. Oliver is a phantasm that is always there. So Elio's world, it's just beautiful. And the setting is beautiful, and everything is beautiful. Everything in the book is beautiful no matter what you would look at it. So, setting. So the plot, in the book, does Oliver like me, is pretty much the heart of it. After we get over that, hello, yes, Oliver does like Elio. Elio likes Oliver. And they're beautiful confessions. Amazing confessions. But the plot also is Oliver and Elio accepting first their own feelings, then taking those wonderfully innocent, naive almost steps towards what are we. And they aren't like confident, brazen steps of like, I'm going to trample everything in my way. It's very subtle, it's just trepidation, and Oliver's trying not to overstep, and Elio's like, oh, am I overstepping too? And it's painfully, horrendously painfully slow sometimes. And I just want to choke him out and be like, no, you guys love each other. Don't waste the 6 weeks you have. But they kind of do for a bit of it. But it just adds to the authenticity and to the real voice of Elio. Nothing is unrealistic. You don't have this, suave character that's like, oh, hey, I've known you for 3 weeks, and you may or may not be bisexual or homosexual, but I'm going to totally put the moves on you. It's like, no. There's respect for each other. Oliver and Elio really respect each other as academics, as brains, as people. And they treat each other like very special people to each other. And I really, really respect that. What I also wrote down here is, I don't know if anybody believes in soulmates. Some people do, some people don't. I believe that Oliver and Elio are soulmates, and their souls and their entities have been looking for each other for centuries. And this book has put them together. And whether they're real or not, they are to me. And in this book, they finally meet. And those two lives are confused. There's denial. There's just, what is happening? Where have you been? And then acceptance that this is who we're supposed to be with, but it's not the right time. And then you go through the painful separation of these two souls that come to terms with this isn't the right time, and there's going to be the rest of their lifetime longing and waiting for the next one to see if maybe the next one is the right time. And that, I think, is the plot and conflict of the book, which might be it might be dribble to some people, but I find that this is just a soul capturing book, and they are soulmates, and they are souls that have been lost. They find each other and they realize, not yet. There's still more waiting to be done. And then they part ways, and then they wait for the rest of their lives to culminate for the searching to renew and hope that the next time they meet is the right time. So the conflict is also Elio and Oliver accepting themselves first, each other, their own love, each other's love, their fate, and finally the inevitable parting that they knew was going to happen from the get-go, and that they themselves realized how intertwined their lives were, and realizing that after this summer, nothing will be the same again. So that's also part of the conflict. It's just them accepting their true love and realizing that it's not going to go anywhere, and we have to be okay with it. And it breaks my heart, breaks a lot of people's hearts, thankfully, not just mine. And so the resolution in this book, as I stated in my topic of discussion and other review, which I will link in the description box below, there is no resolution. There is only life and waiting for their relationship to run its course through to their deaths, and hope that maybe next time they meet, it will be their chance. It's living a life knowing with painful confidence that the love that they had was true, but it's just not the time. It's just life. And it's knowing that it's probably better than anything that they could have ever hoped for. And that is the resolution of the book. Which is hardly a resolution at all. It just tears your heart out some more. So, that is review 2.0. It's very emotional. It's much more emotional because I've had the time to sit back and reflect on this book, and sit back and think about how much it has impacted me and how alive and real these characters are to me. They're so alive to me. These are real people, and it just hurts that I have to see their possibly true love, probably true love, I'm sure it was true love, go to the wayside and be like, we still have to wait a little bit more. And then I realize it's okay for me to have problems in my life, because they had to live their entire life knowing that the person they're meant to be with is just right over there. And they're probably still thinking about me, just like I'm thinking about them. And they're always a ghost in my life, just like I'm a ghost in theirs. But it's just not time. And that is frustrating. So, on to topic of discussion 2.0. Like I said, the topic of discussion is going to be just the questions that I've gotten a lot. And I'm actually really thankful, as I stated earlier, for the community that really came together around this book. The community that brought us all together, people from all over the world, all over walks of life, probably just all over the US. No, actually, there's a couple countries that contacted me that were not the US. And really brought us together. So I'm really proud and happy that this book has brought us all into connection and that we can share such passionate discussions about something we all feel passionately for. And so my awesome conversations and discussions with all of you gave me the closure that I lacked in June. And so I accept this book, and I accept the ending. I accept the lack of resolution because of the discussions that I had with each and every one of you, because of every time that someone said, I felt the same way, you know, I died, why couldn't they be together, my soul hurts, and I'm like, I know, and we were emotionally there for each other, and I healed a little bit. So thank you so much for all of those great discussions, great conversations. This is what I want for my channel, and it was just, I got teary-eyed every time I thought about it, like, oh my gosh, these are all people and we're all talking about books and we all love books together, and it's just fantastic because it's not something that happens in real life very often. So one of the questions that I got that I thought was really interesting is, do you think that Elio's father accepting them means that he is also bisexual? So I kind of paused and I thought about the conversation that Elio had with his father. And I don't know if his father was bisexual. I think that his father, because he does say that he had a special connection with someone at one point too. I think that he has just acceptance and he realizes, I might have had something interesting with someone at one point. And he sees that his son had that next level that he didn't experience, and he says, that's okay. So maybe at one point he might have been questioning his sexuality, which is good. It's a healthy thing. It's all right. No big deal. It's fine. It's good. It's growth. And I don't know if he was bisexual, but he loved Elio for who he was and thought it was beautiful, youthful, and he's just such an enlightened man. So another very popular question is, does Oliver love Elio the way Elio loves Oliver, and does Oliver regret the choices that he made? No, I don't think Oliver regrets the choices that he made. I think Oliver is happy with his wife and kids. Most people don't regret their kids, but he loves his kids. And I think that Oliver and Elio kind of just longing for their life together is them knowing that if they had had the happily ever after, which they didn't, and it's unfulfilled, so just naturally there's always that what if, it would have been wonderful too. And they would not have missed another life, because they wouldn't have, I just feel like they would have felt completely fulfilled with each other, and they wouldn't have questioned, oh, what if we weren't with each other, you know? And Oliver, during the peach scene, which people have pointed out to me, he tells Elio, no matter what happens between us, I never want you to say that you never knew. Don't say you never knew. And that's Oliver's statement of what it was. Someone said, words are cheap. I agree. And that scene, the peach scene in particular, and that phrase, don't ever say you never knew, was more powerful than any I love you, a love letter, a kiss, even sex. It was more powerful than any of that. And that's Oliver's statement to Elio, to us as the readers, to the world, to his soul. That's his statement from one soul to the other that echoes as loud and as strong as the moment that it happened across the years. And although Elio wants to hear that, although Elio wants to be called by his name, he remembers it. And Oliver made sure that Elio knew, and that we knew. And it just makes me want to cry some more, because it was beautiful. And this book is just lovely. More lovely than, anything I could ever hope for. And no matter what, Oliver and Elio, in my opinion, will always love each other. And no matter where they are, what lifetime it is, they will always have that Italian summer in that Italian villa where their alternate lives are ghosting together for all eternity. And I take solace in that, knowing that in their next life that hasn't been written yet, or that may never be written, they get their happily ever after. So, I'm pretty sure this video is pretty long, but it's worth it, because it's been way too long since we've talked about Call Me By Your Name. And I hope that you guys have loved this book as much as I have. I'm sure some of you have loved it more. And thank you for being a part of this experience with me. So I absolutely love it. I'm so happy about this book. I hope you guys like this review. Let me know which one you like better. Try not to hate the first one too much, because it was my first one, so I was kind of nervous. So I'm a little more grounded and I get extra gushy now. But let me know what you guys thought. If you guys want to keep talking about Call Me By Your Name, please do. I love hearing about Call Me By Your Name. Any opinions, any reservations, no reservations, quotes you want to share, anything. We should start a discussion on Goodreads or something. Just something. Let's talk about Call Me By Your Name some more. Let's keep talking about it, because the movie is almost out. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to post an update in January, and I'm going to gush, and I'm going to cry and comatose, and it's probably going to be death. It's going to be amazing, because I'm going to die in beautiful, happy peace. And I can't wait to share it with you guys. So, if this is your first Call Me By Your Name video, check out my original review, my topic of discussion, and hello and welcome to The Way, the Truth, and the Light, because Call Me By Your Name is a lifestyle, and it's a faith, honestly. From what I can tell, you're either all into the book or you're just not. There seems to be no real in between. As you can tell, I'm like way into it and a little too much into it. And I think the only thing I'm missing is to tattoo their names on me or something. So I might get Call Me By Your Name tattooed on me. I don't know. It's just so damn poetic. Something in here has to be tattooed somewhere because it's so poetic. So on that note, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for coming back with me. I'm alive, I promise, for now. And don't give up on me. I'm going to keep recording as long as my health permits it. So let's have some more discussions. Let's talk about Call Me By Your Name. And be safe and have a good one.